So I'm going to go back to our little clock plate that we made the other day for this next section. And I'm going to show you one quick thing that I added to my clock is on the arrows that point to the hour and the minute. Just to give myself another reminder, I wrote minute on the long arrow and hour on the short arrow, to remind myself that when I'm looking at this short arrow, it's going to tell me what the hour is. So 10 would be my hour here. And the minute is going to show me how many minutes it is into the hour. And sometimes we use o'clock when we're on 12. And we've been also talking about 30 when we're on the 6 or the half hour. So you can even add in, if you want another reminder, underneath the 12, you can write o'clock. And on top of the 6, you can write 30. So I'm just making a few notes for myself. O'clock will also look like this, written digitally on a clock. If you look on your microwave or on your oven, you'll see a digital read of the time where it writes out the numbers with these 2 dots in the middle. So that's what it would look like at the 12 for the minutes. And this is what it would look like at the 6 for the minutes. So for example, I could have 9:30. And it would be written out with a 9 in front of the 2 dots and then the 30 afterwards. So that's a short little recap of the clock. Next, I'm going to go over this with you guys. So on this page, you will see you have what looks like a clock, but what is it missing? It's missing the hands. And that's your job, is to figure out, reading this digitally like you would on your oven or your microwave clock, reading this time. So remember, the hour comes before the 2 dots and the minutes come after. And the 00 is that o'clock time, which lands on the 12. So I'm going to use 2 different color pens to represent my 2 different hands. And in order to remember that, I'm going to write it at the top of my page. I'm going to use this red pen for my hour hand and the blue pen for my minute hand, so that I can really distinguish the 2 different arrows on my clock. So my first time is 12 o'clock. 12 comes before the 2 dots. So this one is a tricky one because o'clock is also 12. So both hands are going to be pointing towards the 12. So I'm going to draw, remember the hour is the short one. So I pick up my red pen and I draw a short hand going to the 12. And then I pick up my blue pen. I'm going to draw it slightly next to it just so that they're not right on top of each other. I'm going to draw my long hand pointing to the 12 as well. That's what it's going to look like on the clock at 12:30. Now I'm going to do one other one on this sheet, but I don't want to give you all the answers. So I'm going to show you a different one that is not on the 12. So I'm going to go down here to this one that says 2:30. 2 is my hour and 30 is my minutes. So I'm going to pick up my red pen first, my hour pen. I might even give myself a little reminder and underline the hour with the red pen. Pick up that blue pen, underline the minutes with the blue pen. Another helper for me to do the right thing. So red pen means shorthand, and I want that pointing towards the 2. That's what I underlined with red. So I'm going to draw a short line to the 2. There's my shorthand pointing towards the 2. Next, pick up my blue pen, That's my minutes. That's the long arrow. And on this, I underlined 30. Remember, on my clock over here, I wrote this little key to myself. 30 is when the arrow is pointing, the long arrow is pointing down to the 6. So I'm going to go in and draw a long arrow pointing down towards the 6. And there is my clock reading 2:30. I'm going to give you one quick hint before I sign off and tell you that your blue arrow is only going to draw lines towards the 12 or the 6 when working on this sheet. There are some extra challenges in the packet that I gave you that work on the quarter hour. And if you think of this being half, if I cut it in half this way, then I would have 4 different sections of my clock. So cutting it in half this way would be pointing to the 3 and the 9. So if I were working on the quarter hour and I had my minute hand, remember it's all about the minute hand. Let's say I go my hour to 1 and my minute hand's pointing to the 3. That's going to be 15 minutes into the hour. If it's still on 1 and it moves over to the 9, that's going to be 45 minutes into the hour. But that's an extra challenge. So stick with the hour and the half hour for now. And if you think you're ready, go for the quarter hour as well. Good luck.